Hey everybody, we're back, at least me and the flop are back, and we are back to talk about a couple of things in particular, and I thought the flop would be good to talk about them. One is Amazon Prime's The Boys, and two is Amazon Prime / BBC's Fleabag. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because one, Missy, and we explained in the episodes, is not a big geek culture fan in terms of TV and whatnot, so she liked the show, so we wanted to talk about that. And Fleabag, thanks to one Big D, was a new discovery for us 2 weeks ago, and we already finished both seasons because it was amazing. But before we talk about all that, there's something I did want to talk to you about. And of course, I always want to tell you about 318 Mid Rivers Mall Drive. That's the location in St. Peter's for the beer sauce shop. Our boys at the beer sauce shop are always good enough to give us some good beers and stuff to try. Sometimes we get to talking about them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get really drunk and it just goes off the rails. So if that happens, you can blame those guys for having such an amazingly good craft beer selection. And in addition to that, they also have some of the best barbecue aids and accessories. And I'm talking about stuff like the Big Green Egg, all the way down to sauces, rubs, any kind of flavorings you want. They have a flavor uprising, so to speak. In fact, it is how you speak because I think that's what they call it. They also have a great bourbon selection, too. Everything craft, everything locally sourced, owned, or within a very good radius of St. Louis, with the exception of some craft beers because, let's face it, Founders is a great craft brewery. They're not here, but they do get those beers in. So go check them out. They always take care of us for the show, and you should go help them take care of the store by buying stuff. But the other thing, the more important thing, is a friend of the show, Shane Presley of the Rock Paper Podcast. I talk about this a little bit at the end. I didn't have the details in front of me, but now I do. Those that do know Shane know that his mom has just recently started her real hard battle with cancer, chemotherapy and whatnot. And with that comes a lot of bills, a lot of problems, a lot of pain. One thing we can do to help ease that pain is to go support Deb. And that would be Debbie Manahan. I hope I pronounced that right, Shane. It's what it looks like. I'm going phonetic. But Shane supports everyone in the St. Louis area in music, comedy, and podcasts. We should go help support Shane and his family. So that's Deb Stock. That is on September 8th. That's a Saturday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Old Rock House. Now, it's $10 in advance, and that's fine and good. I like people to plan out their weekend, but it's $15 at the door. And we know what it's for. So buy your damn tickets, $15 no matter what. I don't care if it's in advance. I don't care if it's at the door. Here's who's going to be there. Al Halliday and the East Side Rhythm Band, the Scandaleros, Big Mike Aguirre, and the Blue City All-Stars, Jackson Stokes, Joe Bizzelli, and Matt Wynn. And then here at the bottom it says plus special guests, and knowing all the people that Shane has touched over the years, legally or otherwise, they're going to want to come back and support him. So I bet there's going to be some great guests. This is a cancer benefit for Debbie Manahan, which would be Mrs. Rock Paper, or the mother Rock Paper Podcast. So go check him out. He's a great dude. It's a great cause, and we wouldn't be friends if we didn't mention it. So I know me and the wife are going to try to be there because it's pre-soccer for us. So all those excuses about all the time we don't have an excuse that weekend. So other than that, I think that's all I've got to say, so I'm just going to let the bomb bring in the episode right now. You like this one? These Robert Mondavi people.
I feel like you have to say it Mondavi.
These Robert Mondavi people. This is the private selection, by the way. They make some expensive wines there at Deerberg's. This was not one of them. This was like a $13. I feel that's our wheelhouse. $13 bottle.
I don't know. That $70 bottle of wine we got from that Wine of the Month Club was divine.
Well, that's different. That's a fancy club. This is just over the counter.
Yeah.
These are over the counter drugs.
Did you find any $5 bottles that were really worth $200?
No, they didn't have any up front there. I know.
I don't believe that's a believable story anyway.
Yeah, but on that note, we are back.
Hey.
And it is just you and I. And you being, of course, the Flop, my wife, and I being, of course, Jeremy.
I was going to say, who's who?
Yeah, and that is it. There is no other voices in this room. There are no other men in this room except for Louie and Jenkins. And
you might hear the clickety-clacks of doggies.
yeah, and Jenkins, in the loosest terms, can be called a guy because he's kind of a wuss. But other than that, it is no Bender, no Tom, and this was a hard week to get together, mainly because
it's been hard.
Well, we got all these overlapping sports. Like we've got volleyball 2 nights essentially for you, and sometimes for me, and then soccer and volleyball for daughter and softball.
Bender plays softball, and his son plays soccer.
Yeah, it's
Tom travels.
Yeah, and Tom's Tom. What are you gonna do? But regardless, I feel like we say that excuse all the time. Maybe you guys should start taking a drink every time we tell you why we've been delayed a few days. But we're not going to talk about it. We're going to get into what we were talking about.
Who's this Bender and Tom you speak?
Yeah, they don't matter. But what does matter is we're here, and this is a wine-infused episode. I think some of the most drunk episodes I've been on is where we've drank wine. Now, we're only doing 1 bottle tonight, maybe.
Oh, are we?
Well, maybe.
No, I have to go into work tomorrow, so yes.
But... yeah, so what I did want to do, though, I wanted to get an episode 1 just because I want to get an episode out. But 2, because we talked about it a little on the air, but I didn't really dive into it because I thought it'd be real fun to get your perspective on it. And in 2 Amazon Prime shows, one being The Boys,
yes,
which we'll get into, and the other, and I probably want to do The Boys first because I really want to talk about the second one, Fleabag. And I'll tell you why we watched Fleabag here in a little bit. But that said, you only allow me, well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. You only participate in a certain level or a certain amount of geekery with me. Game of Thrones monopolized the geekometer for like 7 years.
Yeah, that was like on a scale of 10, that was the 9 nerd meter for you.
Yeah.
For me to participate, yes.
And you will go see some of the Marvel movies from time to time, but you refuse to do too many geek things at once because you don't want to be a part of that world.
This is true. I just refuse to believe that I will find enjoyment in anything that nerd.
Yeah, but somehow I slipped one by the goalie on you.
No, you told me what it was about.
Yeah, I did tell you what it was about, but I want you to tell me, because I know the exact moment when you were like, all right, I'm in. What was it for you?
The fully frontal nudity scene?
Yeah, full frontal nude man. You go, full frontal nudity. I could watch this show.
No, so I do. It might take you some time to talk me into a show that you know you will like. And I'll say, I'm not in the mood. And eventually I'll give in and I'll say, okay, at least I'll give it the first episode. Sometimes 2, because first episodes aren't always strong because it's setting up a lot of shit. So, yeah, the pee-pee party, that was funny, but I was like, oh, this is
Fishman Dong is what we're talking about.
It was.
There may be some slight spoilers too. Let's just throw that out there for these people, but they've been out long enough.
These are going to be spoilers for me because I've already forgotten what I've watched.
Oh, okay. Well, but yeah. So yeah, and we're talking about currently The Boys, and it was the what was his name? The Deep. He was the Aquaman character.
Him.
And he had a scene.
I hate all of them, by the way, but
akin to the comic book, into which they forced fellatio on the new member of their team. Well, as much as you could force fellatio on someone, he convinced her that it was the only way she was.
They did insinuate it. We didn't see her do anything.
Well,
no, just kidding. It was heavily insinuated.
Where in the comic book, I let you know it was like 3 guys instead of 1 guy. They convinced her that that's the only way you're going to be on the team. If you didn't know that The Boys is a very adult-oriented comic book by Garth Ennis, who wrote Preacher, which is in the top 3 or 4 of my all-time favorite series ever written.
I never got into that.
Well, we
show.
We didn't give it much of a shot. I mean, we really watched
the 2 episodes that I just spoke of.
And the comic is, I'm going to go back at some point and watch the show. But it is still my favorite comic of all time. And The Boys is an okay comic book. It's entertaining. Bender does not like the comic book near as much as he likes the show. But we watched so we started the show, and I think we probably
crank it out in
a weekend, like a week, like an extended weekend, And it's only 8 episodes long. And I mean, what was it about The Boys, other than the full frontal nudity, that kept you going? And even though it was very heavily geek centric in terms of themes, it was very adult crime oriented in terms of execution.
Well, I am interested in why the superheroes are actually bad. Spoiler, I don't know.
Well, it's not even that they're bad; it's that
They're not great people.
they're just so far above the law. It's almost like Caligula.
So is Superman, but he's not going around making people suck his dick.
Right. Well, it's almost like Caligula in the it's like these people were so rich and so powerful that they just or let me not get biblical on people, but let's get practical and like Arnold. When Arnold cheated on Maria Shriver, it was with the homeliest women. It was because I guess he just got tired of hot women in his day, and he's like, I'm Arnold. I'm so powerful. I'm so rich. I'm so, masculine. Every once in a while, I just want to, get a slump buster and have a good time.
And I'm intrigued by Elizabeth Shue's character and who the father is of that child.
Yeah, that's one big thing. Who her child's father is, and she is.
And why does she treat
him like a baby, a Homelander
like a child? Why does he want to be treated like a child?
Who, by the way,
I don't know. It's so weird.
The best acting on this show. Carl Urban's great in everything he is. He plays like a million different accents on a million different things. He was you even said, isn't he Scottish? Because he was Scotty in the Star Trek remakes. Yeah.
Actually, I said, wasn't he on The Doctor?
Yeah,
and you're like, no, fuck you, Missy.
Yeah. So, and then there's Huey, which is played by Randy Quaid's and Meg Ryan's son.
So I'll tell this story because you like to kind of misquote things. So I was like, where have I seen this guy before? Why does he look familiar? So when I have these little thoughts when we're watching TV shows or movies, I always go to the trusty IMDb. And I don't remember if it was IMDb that told me this, or if I then went to Wikipedia, which is semi-trustworthy.
People are going to think I'm peeing in the background.
I know. So anyway, I found out that he was Meg Ryan and Randy Quaid's son, and I was like, that's fucking it. He is Randy Quaid. He's not as attractive as the young Randy Quaid.
He's got some little bit of quirkiness to him.
He's got a very similar look, and I'm like, oh, that's why he looks so familiar.
And one of the things when we brought it up, me and Tom did, is in the comic book, the character Huey was patterned exactly after Simon Pegg. Well, Simon Pegg's a little too old to play the character in the show, but they let Simon Pegg play his dad, which is kind of an awesome thing too. Back to Elizabeth. Oh, well, what I was going to say, though, is the acting in it. Carl Urban's great. Huey's great. What's his name in real life? He's what, Quaid?
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
So, hold on. Before we move on from that, Huey, I could see how someone would, the real quirky guy that's from that HBO show with the coders.
Silicon Valley.
So that main character.
Thomas Middleditch.
How someone could put him in that role.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of nerdy. But I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah,
I really do not like that character. The guy because he's the same character and everything. And he's
Thomas Middleditch, yeah.
Okay, you've said his last name two different ways now.
No, I haven't.
You said Middleditch and Middlevich.
No, I have not. I said it the same way.
You can rewind it later.
We will. I will. I'll edit and listen. I'll be right. But where I was going with the great acting, I love the guy that plays the Frenchman. He's awesome, Frenchie. But the guy that plays Homelander is unbelievably good in this.
His face is so weird to me.
That's maybe what it is. He acts so because there is a ungodly absolute indifference to the scenes he's in. He's in these, and I know that sounds like, well, that doesn't sound like great acting, but that's him. That's the character. Like he's in these, whether he's faking being religious for the religious people, whether he's selling his childhood home, whether he's murdering innocent people because he can't let any witnesses survive. There's this smugness to him, like, I can't believe I'm having to do all this in every scene, and he's good at it.
No, I just meant his face in general is just very weird. Like, he looks like he should be, like, his character should be just ruggedly handsome, like Christopher Reeves was as Superman. I don't know why I keep talking about Superman, but
because that's the character he's based on.
Well, yeah, but just ruggedly handsome, and there's just something like he's missing all the chromosomes to make him handsome, and he's got one ugly chromosome that makes him just slightly not pleasant to look at, I feel.
Well, that's more of a girl thing or something. I mean, that's more of a, but I just mean his acting is on point.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Shue's really good in it too, and she weirdly acts in it too. You can tell she's like, her character's towing the line between motherhood and being a powerful woman, but they never make a point that she's a woman in power. Like, it's not her. She never once
no,
says.
You're right. Yeah.
She just wants to be powerful. And her character is different from the comic, because in the comic, it's twofold. It's two people that really manipulate her, that control the team. And one is the VP of the United States, the vice president, who's in the pocket of the character that runs the VOT organization, which is a guy. Mm-hmm. And in the comic, he, like, is secretly very powerful, and we don't know why. Kind of in the show, they allude to the owner of Vought being the powerful one, so we don't know who that is or why. But so it's 8 episodes long, and I got to tell you, I was telling Tom at the time that the plot twist in the last episode, and this is where we're going to get spoilery, is not in the comic, but it was so good. Like, the whole reason why the Butcher, played by Carl Urban, or Butcher, Billy Butcher, the reason he's so angry, it turns out to all be a lie that he didn't know about, and you're left wondering, was she raped? His wife, he thought to be deceased wife, or was it consensual? And I'm in the boat that it was consensual. I don't think
I could still see how she was raped, but she maybe didn't want to keep the child, so maybe she tried to kill herself, and maybe Homelander saved her at the last minute, and they hid her away, and now she was just stuck where she is.
Well, if you remember, Homelander didn't know she was alive, so he didn't save her at the last minute.
Now, he also acts like a lot of different things to other people, so he could be pretending.
No, because he went to Elizabeth Shue after he found the doctor, and then he went back and killed the doctor and tortured him to give him the real information. And they even gave Butcher the original story they gave him was a lie on how she died during childbirth of his kid. Like, the kid shot his way out and all that stuff. But no, I think instead of her being raped, I think she had consensual sex with him, got pregnant and was too embarrassed to go back, and that's why she took an offer, because you see her look at the camera and go away. Yeah, I think she took an offer, and she knew that Butcher would see it. But regardless, it's going to make for it a pretty cool too. Because before it was vengeance for what was done to his wife, or revenge, and now it's going to be a whole new, different set of. Oh,
there's going to still be some hatred there. Yeah, Butcher.
Yeah, but his fuel is going to change directions now, which is going to be awesome.
It's not going to change directions. It's just going to spread.
Yeah, he might be even more mean and evil and violent. And all the set pictures they're showing already is just people covered in blood.
Yeah, so I'm also interested in Miss Goody Two Shoes. What's her name? Starlight. Starlight. Does she stay good forever?
Well, in the comics, she's a good person. She's, in fact, she's a little more pure in the comic than in the show. But in the show, it's kind of a manufactured by her mom. It's her marketed look, but she's a pretty good character in the show too, and she does end up helping them. Again, spoilers. We apologize, but I mean, that dynamic. Because she clearly likes Yui, and Yui clearly likes her. Yeah. Even though they got off to a bad start, or got off to a little bit of a rocky development by the end of it.
And the small amount of time that we saw Huey's girlfriend at the beginning, I really liked her. I'm like, she's going to be a cool character.
Oh, yeah, the one that, the immediate thing you see?
Yeah.
In the comic book, that's literally like panel 4. Like, you're like, whoa, first page, this is how we're going to go?
Well, I feel like in the comic book, seeing that translated on TV was more impactful. With color, I don't know.
There's a lot of blood in the comic book.
Is there color? Okay, but just actual human reaction, even though it's acting.
Well, it was a cool scene.
Yeah,
it was
for
cool.
sure.
And that guy, I guess I should bring that up. The guy that played A-Train is really good in that show, too. I mean, I can't
stand the bolt in his head, like that shaved thing in his head. Because I really need to know, is that real? Does that guy walk around with that shaved little whatever in his head the whole time they're filming? Because it doesn't look like a manufactured bald spot. It's very thin, and I don't know. I need to know if it's real.
Hey, I guess once you get a good sustained role on a popular show, you'll do what you got to do.
I don't think he was like, this is going to be a good, this could go somewhere. He's like, I want to act, so I'll just shave it in my head.
Well, I bet somebody thought, the way these Amazon Prime and these Netflix shows are going, I bet someone, I mean, and plus it was based on a pretty popular comic, so they probably were hoping they had a hit.
His character has that in the books.
I don't remember if he had that, but they did a pretty good job of translating them. I mean, they changed some things, like the Deep. He is, like I told you in the comic, he actually wears a full like old Scott style scuba suit.
That is like the only guy that's actually in shape of all the superheroes.
He really is, yeah. Because
he's the only one that's at least got some sort of muscle. Everyone else, and he's padded too. You can see it in his butt and the front, because there's always wrinkles and stuff. Yeah. But he's the only one that shows his arms for real. So
Homelander is the guy's in shape, but they bulk him up with his outfit.
Yeah, but I bet he's not as big as.
I guess we didn't bring up the other character, too. What was her name? Liberty Bell, or not, whatever her name is. Not Liberty Bell. She's essentially Wonder Woman. I can't remember her name in the show, but she was she was pretty good. I mean, it's funny because there's like what's unique about the show is like it's like there's definitive character arcs and development, but they never quite get over the hump. It's like, are they going to end up being good? Are they end up going to be real bad?
I feel like she could reverse and end up being a good person. I think she
wants to.
I feel like, without reading the comics or anything, I feel like she came into it as a good person, was turned bad because she probably was forced to do whatever.
I think it was just years of making bad decisions.
Well, and just being around all the corruptness and being forced to do bad things with Homelander, like out in public.
Yeah. Lying constantly.
Right, and just lying. Like she's covered a few different stories in the show, and I think that's what's turned her bad.
What was the funniest moment in the show, though? Because there's a good bunch of funny moments. It's got to be the dolphin, right? The poor dolphin.
Oh my God!
Flying through. That was the only time you were both laughed and were sad at the same time.
Clearly, it was a fake scene. I mean, but the thought of what happened, I was like, "What the? That is the silliest thing I've ever. Who thought of that?"
And equate it to, like, let's just assume the dolphin was a real person, because the Deep can communicate with these aquatic animals. And the whole scene that the dolphin was hitting on him, wanting him to touch his junk, and he's like, "Fine, when we get there, I'll touch it." And then he has the wreck. Overall, though, if you were to give a rating to the show, and in our universal 5-point untapped scale of rating things, Tom, we also use 5 every time. It's the standard rating. Tom always asks, what would you give the show overall?
Overall?
Yeah.
Probably a 4.
I think it's a 4 also, and that's a really good rating.
For me. That kind of show.
Well, for any show, but that, especially out of you for that show. I would highly recommend it to everybody. In fact, we're going to talk a little more.
Oh, you run in different circles. I can't recommend that to a lot of people that I know.
Well, we recommended it to the Walking Horse, our friends, and they're watching it now, but not because of us, because they forgot.
I can't imagine recommending that show to the females I work with.
Oh, well, yeah, you got to know what your audience, that's for sure. Well, I'll tell you this.
I'm going to see Miss Bushman on Friday. I will recommend it to her and the mister.
Yeah, and I brought it up to Dwayne is not a guy that loves like deconstructing heroes kind of things and like dark side of superheroes. He loves his superheroes like superheroes. Mm-hmm. But I told him, I said, dude, Carl Urban's great in it. Everyone's great in it. You need to check it out. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he does. But Dwayne, though, is part of the reason we are going to talk about the next show that we watch from Amazon Prime. And a couple things happened. And this is another show we shotgun 2 seasons like in a week.
Yeah.
A couple things happened a week ago. After Stranger Things, Brett Gelman, who is the bearded
Russian
conspiracy guy who speaks Russian in Stranger Things.
Not the Russian, but
he, I guess, I don't know if it was Esquire magazine or GQ or whoever, but they rated this summer the summer of Brett. And the reason is because he had 2 big shows come out that he's very important to. He's a central character in a couple of them.
Central-ish, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big reason why stuff happens, and that
he's definitely a commanding presence when he's on screen on both shows.
So we saw, I heard them talk about it. They showed a clip for this show, and I thought, well, that show, maybe we'll give that show a chance one day. And then I happened to call Big D like that day or the next day or a couple days later, And he and I always talk about whatever I called him for, and by the time we get done with that, we always say, well, let's catch up on nerd stuff. What have you been reading? What have you been watching? What have you been listening to? Or what do you. And he goes, I don't watch a lot of stuff anymore. He goes, but Fleabag's on season 2, and that's one of my favorite shows. And I told him, I said, I just heard about that show. So I made you watch it one night. We watched the first episode.
How did you think I would react wanting to watch a BBC show?
Well,
because of my lack of understanding of heavy accents.
I absolutely did not think you were going to latch onto it even after we watched the first episode.
Yeah.
We watched and I know that you don't do well with accents, and there's a few people out there that have said the same thing.
Their accents are not heavy at all.
Yeah, they're not. They're definitely not pikey. They're not Cockney. They're pretty straightforward British accents that you can understand.
Right.
But so if you don't know Fleabag, what's her name? What's the girl's name?
I don't know. I
have to
tweeted
look
about
her up,
her.
yeah.
But it's it's like a three. It's a first name and then a hyphen last name.
And she's the
Waller
titular
Bridge.
Yeah, something Waller Bridge or Bridge Waller. Who knows?
Bridge Waller, something like that.
So we'll have to look it up though, because Dwayne's screaming at his phone right now that we don't know it. But she's the creator, writer, and title character. In fact, one of the cool things about the show is her name. One of the many subtle things about this show that I love is her name. If you look in the credits, is Fleabag, but they never once call her Fleabag. In fact, they never call her by her name. No one calls her by...
It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yeah. And she is also, for those in the super geek world, will know her as the voice in Han Solo of the robot. Mm-hmm. She's the Millennium Falcon. She is an absolute genius. She is like...
She's what...
I know where you're going. This is what I was about to say.
Whatever that chick's name is from Girls.
Yeah.
She is what that girl was trying to achieve.
Well, and that girl did achieve it.
No, she tried to push envelopes.
Yeah.
She wanted to... Look, I'm not fat-shaming her, but she shouldn't have been naked on TV.
Well, she got a little full of herself, I think. But that happens because the media was dubbing her a genius and stuff. And I can't remember, but it was the lead actress in Girls and one of the co-creators. But this Fleabag, though... So we watched the first episode, and you liked it enough to give episode 2 a chance.
I did.
And I thought, well, I really enjoyed it, but I was like, okay, because right out of the gate, it is raunchy. And I think those that know...
Which is why I gave it
another
episode 2 a chance, because I was like, yeah, this bitch is right up my alley.
Yeah, and I was hooked on 1, but I really liked it. I was willing to give it a chance, but to me, it was going to be one of those shows that I watched here and there until I could catch up on all of that seasons over the next year or two. So then we watched episode 2, I don't know if it was the same. We did the same night.
It was 2 in one night, and then a couple the next day.
And then after episode 2, you were in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
I can't remember what actually made me like it. It was probably her raunchiness, how her sly looks at the camera, or her talking to the camera.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you talk about, again, with the boys, but even more so in Fleabag, you talk about a well-acted show, though. Her sister and her dynamic, her dad and her dynamic with her sister, the stepmom is so hateable. And
I don't understand how anyone would like her character.
Oh, no, but that's what. So she was so good at it, though, in the show. Right out of the gate.
She looked like a very odd version of Melissa McCarthy. She has that same smile and kind of eyes as Melissa McCarthy.
And they use it 100% different.
Yeah. Instead of being funny, she's passive-aggressive. And
maybe one of the best passive-aggressive characters ever. She had a good smile all the time when she was insulting you.
Yeah. She's like, your feet stink. And she's like, smile. No, that's not a line, but that's
not a line. I tell you what, what was also, you mentioned it, and it probably my favorite use of breaking the fourth wall of any movie, show, or anything I've ever done. And it was very good in season 1. But season 2, when the priest joins, and for those that don't know, the priest was Moriarty from Sherlock, if that teases it anymore for you. His name also in the show is the priest. And that's all they ever refer. They say, where's the father? Where's your holy man? They never.
Where's the priest? Yeah.
Yeah, they never. I mean, the way that some of the things that she did on this were great. But what was great, one of my absolute favorite things I've ever seen in a sitcom or whatever is her character constantly broke the fourth wall and commented on what was going on in the scene.
Yeah.
The priest could see it.
Yeah.
When she'd do it, he goes, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
It's a very witty, well-written show. I feel she is very pretty, but in an odd sort of way. Her sister, who she claims has perfect skin and is beautiful and has big knockers, I don't see any of that.
Yeah, it's not as pretty as her.
The only thing that keeps her from being like, this is super beautiful and this is super superficial of me to say, is that nose.
Yeah, and then one of the things, obviously, in her head, in her world, that keeps her from being super pretty is the birthmark she has on her forehead that she constantly is covering up. Anytime it shows, and I got to feel like the way they do it is also intentional, it'll accidentally show, and she'll cover it back up. Like, I mean, to me, I wonder if that little spot is what they call the flea, why she got the name Fleabag.
Oh, that's a good point.
I spent my whole time wondering that on that show, and that was...
I wonder if it's even real, to be quite honest.
It's in her other...
Okay.
It's she's had it her whole life in all of her pictures and stuff, but... And bravo to her to not let it hold her back. I mean, I think she's a pretty girl, and... Boy, I tell you, though, but, like, there's things in the show, like, she's got this guy that has a huge unit... And every time he has sex with her, he constantly has to talk about how small her boobs are during sex.
Your titties are so small.
Let me see
Where
them.
are they?
Where are they at? I can't even feel them. And it's like, it's arousing to him.
Yeah. Then it makes him want to fall in the deep, dark anals.
Well, yeah. He likes to go in the back door, which was, this is not a spoiler because it's the very first episode, very first scene. She allows him to go back door, and he's well hung. He goes, thank you for that, because most girls won't let me do that. And then she kind of panics. Do I have a huge butthole?
Yeah, that was like was that the closing line of that episode?
Yeah, it might have been.
Which was hilarious. Yeah, it's a very well written show. I enjoy it. So my problem when we get to when we find a good show like that, like The Boys. I felt this way with New Girl when I found it and we went through all the seasons with the girls. Is when you come to the end or come to a point where you can't keep watching, you're kind of sad.
Oh yeah, and
you're like, oh, I really want to watch that show. It's entertaining.
Yeah, and we'll bring that. And we'll just jump into that too. So this is 2 seasons. Each season is 6 episodes, 30-minute, 30-minute episodes. Yeah, 30-ish. Yeah. You brought up, and I had already read on the internet before, but on the last episode of season 2, you brought up, you go, man, if they decided to not, you said, I hope they come back with this, but if they don't, that was a great series.
That was the perfect ending for a 2-season, 12-episode show.
It was a beautiful ending.
It was just perfect.
Yeah, and it turns out that it is. Although she did say that, I'm not saying that I'm not going to make a season 3, but she said if I'm interested in a season 3, it's when the Fleabag is in her 50s, 40s, to see where she's at in life. Mm-hmm. She said, I don't know that there's story to tell about the family dynamic and stuff, because that was the story. Mm-hmm. And she goes, to me...
I feel like there still is more story to tell.
Oh, man.
Her brother and her brother-in-law and her sister, the mom and stepmom, the sister and the stepson, where she's at, where's her store? Does she end up having sex with the guy that gave her the loan? Does she ever find love?
Yeah.
Or does she figure out if she's heterosexual or gay or bisexual? I don't know. These are all questions that can be answered in season 3. I really just sounded like the show soap.
But, you did. Find out all of this and more.
Yeah.
And you could, but the thing is, and that's why the show is so good, you don't have to get those answers.
No, you don't.
But in the final episode of the whole series, or season 2, there were 2 incredibly good monologue moments. One was Brett Gelman's character when he was trying to keep his wife, who's Fleabag's sister.
Yeah.
And when he said, I'm not a bad person, I just have a bad attitude.
Yeah, a bad personality.
Bad personality, yeah. But that little speech was, I almost thought it was going to win her back.
Oh, God, I was praying that she did what she did.
Yeah, and that was even, again, his reaction to what she did. And
then his later reaction at the wedding, I was like, I do want her to be back with him.
I just meant where he goes, huh, I did not think you were going to do that in that dress. Almost like he intended to ask her to do it so she wouldn't do it. That, and then the priest, his whole monologue about love, that was all, and the internet went crazy over that.
I did not like the way that relationship was handled.
Oh, no more. I mean, maybe, like I said, for a show that's so fresh in our minds, obviously it's easy to say how great some of the things was. But in terms of heartbreaking lines in all of shows that still left you not upset, was when he told her it'll pass. Holy cow, that was tugging on the heartstrings on that one. I was like, that's when I looked over to make sure you had a tear in your eye before I acted like I? No, but it was close.
And you did?
It was close. It was
closer than me, I feel.
It was welling up. I was like, oh, that hurts. And we didn't really tell you what the show was about. The show is definitely about the title character, Fleabag, and her relationship with her family, her coping with the death of her best friend.
Her internal struggles with a lot of different issues.
And we won't spoil all that parts for you, but I'm telling you, if you've got, I mean, honest to God, I mean, it's 6 episodes.
You only need 3 hours of life, people.
Yeah, 6 total hours to finish the whole series.
Well, I guess 3 hours for the first.
Yeah, go do it because it's unbelievably good. And I think, I'll give my rating and I'll find out yours. On our Universal Untapped 5-point scale, it's a 5.
I would think it's at least I won't give it a 5 because there's always room for improvement on everything. And I'm going to give it a 4.75 just in case it doesn't come back.
That 0.25 is for not having a season 3.
Right.
It's one of my favorite shows that I've watched in the last few years. I mean, you and I have, I guess I'm not going to overly simplify and boil down our relationship, but one of the great things that's happened in our life together is that we both have always enjoyed good TV and always good movies and stuff, but TV has gotten better as we've got since we've been. I mean, TV has, and The Wire happened, and The Shield was going, and then.
Well, we didn't watch The Wire, and we watched The Shield. Did we watch the finale together?
Yeah, we watched the last season together.
So our relationship basically started with Jersey Shore, and now it's at Fleabag. So you know that TV is really coming along.
It is. Well, and we still...
Even though Jersey Shore has come back, and we still
watch Jersey Shore.
But they have grown as people, and so have we, and so has TV.
And we still watch The Challenge, which is coming back soon.
We do.
And CT's going to get in a fight again, which is
we've met other people that are all in on the challenge.
I can't wait.
We should totally talk challenge all the time.
I can't wait. You have also, speaking of TV, I did not watch season 1, but I don't think you've started it yet because you've had a busy week of going in the office this week. But are you close and excited about Mindhunter season 2?
Yeah, the first season was so good. It was really good.
And what was it on a 5 scale for you?
Probably like a 4. It tied into my whole fascination with serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. We've talked about it on the episode. It is, for you, it's a deep dig and research on how to eventually get rid of me.
I didn't know. I didn't look up if it was like loosely based. I mean, it's loosely based on the FBI creating profilers and stuff like that for serial killers, but I don't know. I should, but I don't know if these actual characters are based on real people, are real people, or what.
So the main character is an amalgam of all the guys that created this.
Okay, but they do what they do in the show is they come together and they start interviewing these serial killers that are already in jail, but they use real life serial killers.
Yeah, and
I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is fascinating."
And I told you I looked the guy up, the main character, because every once in a while IMDb will throw something up there like, "Hey, if you like this show, here's where you've seen him before." And that guy he plays the godfather of profiling for the FBI, but his day job, so to speak, he won a Grammy for Hamilton. He's been in that. He was in Glee as a teacher.
Oh yeah, I read that the other day. He was in Glee. I was like, wow, what a turn.
He's been nominated for Tonys. This guy is an unbelievable talent in singing.
Be a triple threat.
And he doesn't sing 1 ounce in Mindhunter.
No.
It's very serious.
So I have like a day coming up. We had a day scheduled for a Cardinal baseball game coming up in a few weeks, and we realized we can't go because Kaylin has a volleyball game that afternoon. As you all know or may not know, if you miss school, you can't play. So, and it was going to be a family event. So I am still going to keep the day off, even though it's a Thursday. And I'm thinking, as we're talking, I might catch up on that show, the second season.
I don't know how many episodes are in it, but that's an hour show, right?
Yes, it is. And I'm not saying catch up.
Just give it a good
give a good chunk out of it. Like, unless it's just a beautiful day. And quite honestly, there's tons of things around the house that I probably should do instead of watching the show. But we are on the go so much and very rarely get to sit and do nothing that I might just do that because it sounds way more enjoyable than cleaning or reorganizing or whatever I could possibly think of to do inside the house.
I've got ideas this weekend to do things inside the house.
Yeah, we don't have anything planned. We should totally do something. Like, we should tackle our bathroom.
Well, I got two rooms that I was wanting to do. One is a garage, and the other I'll tell you about off air because nobody wants to hear about that stuff.
Oh, come on. It's good for talk.
Well, here's what I want to do. I'm going to pick out some tile. And I
just really got excited, but I know that's a lie.
Yeah, I didn't pick out any tile, but I do want to. I was thinking about something. So bottom line on so far did you? I mean, you gave 4 to Mindhunter for the first one, so I haven't read any reviews or stuff, but I do know. The big news for this one is he's going to.
Don't tell me, I don't know anything about it.
Just Charles Manson. That's it. It's one of the big ones. And you and I still have yet to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But
oh God,
I would like to do that this weekend.
I so want to see it.
We might be able to make it happen.
Yeah, we could.
Maybe send our daughter somewhere to have fun for a little bit, and we go catch a movie and.
Well, we have a sitter. She's 14.
Yes.
She lives upstairs in our house.
They would let us go. We could go catch an early viewing of it,
Yeah.
Go get us a lunch, watch a movie, come back, and enjoy the day. I'm down with that. Yeah. I don't think he's in the movie very much. Charles Manson's character's not in the movie very much.
Yeah.
But all the great reviews on. I mean, it's Tarantino, so how could they go wrong for me?
So since we're talking shows and new movies and stuff like that. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
We saw the preview for the morning show, which is an Apple TV show.
Yeah.
Which I kind of want to see, so I'm kind of bummed that we won't get to see it. We're not an Apple family as a whole.
Yeah.
Our girls are. They both have iPhones, but as we pay for shit, we are both not anti-Apple, but we don't have anything Apple for us. You have your work phone, but that doesn't count. Somebody got that.
We're definitely not in that cult, the Apple cult.
But I really I'm kind of missing. Like, was it Jennifer Aniston, the guy from The Office? What's his name? I see his face.
Steve Carell. Yeah, good cast.
It's just a huge cast of Hollywood that just looks like it could be a decent show.
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, if the show's good, it'll be something because they're definitely bringing out because it's the heavy hitters. It's Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, not without, Steve Carell, Billy Crudup. I don't know who this girl is.
Guys, I wish you could see or hear my eyes actually roll when he does that Reese Witherspoon joke. Because he does it.
I don't do it all the time. That's a good joke.
Every time her name comes up.
That's not true.
Yes.
Christopher Walken's not in it, but Christopher Runnan may be. Nothing. I don't know who this woman is. She looked familiar. I thought at first it was the girl from Fast and the Furious and Game of Thrones, but it is. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. I'm going to give it a go though. It's Gugu.
Can I see?
Guga Mbatha Raw. I don't know. I'm butchering it. I just don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know. I
think the M is. It's the M or the B. It's probably the M is probably.
Ooh, her full name is Gugalithea Sophia Mbatha Raw MBE. Huh.
I'm totally changing one of the girls' names to Gugalithea.
Gugalithea. Oh, and here it is.
Oh, for all you pregnant people out there, there's your girl name for this year, Gugalithea.
Oh man, I don't even know. They even give the. I give up on that.
So do you think Apple TV will be as successful as Netflix series or Prime shows?
So Netflix is definitely the king of the mountain right now.
Right now. But with Apple TV and Hulu and all the other people trying to jump
and Amazon both get hits here and there, but not to the level of Netflix does. And that's because Netflix was so far ahead of them. They have so many. They get so many hits because they've been established so long. They're in so many households. Disney Plus coming out soon. That package is going to be pretty big because they're going to have all the Marvel. I don't know how Apple Plus is going to fit in. I mean, it's almost like they're very late to the table to not have a niche like Disney does. Disney has the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And Amazon's already kind of there. Miss Maisel's been a big hit. Fleabag's been a big hit. The Boys, Man in High Castle. Hulu has The Handmaid's Tale, but I haven't heard about a lot else. I don't know. Plus, their big claim to fame is they've got Next Day TV for NBC and all that stuff.
If they had Next Day TV for HBO and Showtime, we would just drop our cable and go straight to Hulu.
Just HBO and all them want you to buy their apps now, their streaming apps like HBO Go and things like that. But we're definitely going to go to Disney Plus in December with Amazon and Hulu. And
we are? Because we don't have kids that watch Disney.
Well, Disney Plus means all the Marvel stuff. And the package is Disney, Hulu, and...
So are you telling me...
No, listen.
Marvel stuff won't show on HBO or Showtime ever? Like the movies?
No, listen. It's original content. They're going to have TV shows with Jeremy Renner on Hawkeye. It's going to
I'm going to give you 1 month, and if you don't make that...
No, listen. It's
worthwhile.
Disney, it's ESPN, and it's Hulu, all for $12. It's all three of those together.
Why would you need ESPN? It's on. Is it going away from cable?
No, we're going to cut the cord finally. This will help us do all that. So, listen. For $12, you get Disney, Marvel, or you get Disney, Hulu, which we already talked about. The Next Day TV, and you get ESPN's there. So then we'll just get an antenna and we'll be good. That's how you cut the cord. But we're also
How are we going to watch Ray Donovan? How are we going to watch...
Therein lies the rub. We got to figure all that out. Because Ray Donovan comes back November 17th.
Kaylin's going to want to watch Shameless.
Yeah, so maybe we just do Showtime. But I don't know.
Do we watch anything on HBO at this moment in time?
I heard that new Gemstone or whatever.
Why don't we just drop HBO now before we get drug into another series?
Well, we got to evaluate it over the weekend to see if there's a show that we actually want to come. We can't wait to come back because there's a lot of shows coming up.
That's what I'm saying. If we cut out HBO now, we won't get sucked into another series, and we can't. Then we won't be like, well, we can't get rid of HBO because we want to. Fucking show called Gemstone.
Well, no, it's not Gemstones. It's that one with Danny McBride where it's supposed to be great, where they're the evangelical family, and it's got John Goodman.
I'm not a huge Danny McBride fan.
It's got John Goodman in it. It's got some good people in it. You just got you're not a lot of fan of a lot of things, and you end up loving them.
I don't. Yeah, there's. Outside of my family, there's nothing I love. No, I'm just saying, like, you find enjoyment in a lot of things. I do not.
Well, I'm not mean you actually love them, and you do find enjoyment of things. You are not a person that doesn't find enjoyment, or we would not be married. I mean, you like things. You like to say, I don't have a thing, but you do. You like things, and you get into things, and serial killing things, you definitely, is a thing.
I don't find enjoyment in it. That's kind of
but yet you keep watching them and stuff. You would not watch them if you didn't enjoy the stories and stuff and hearing about it.
Yeah, but what I mean by enjoyment is like you find joy, like happiness in reading comic books.
Yeah.
Or I don't find joy and happiness. I am watching serial killer stuff and reading about it because I'm intrigued. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? And it makes me more enlightened with the world. Like. Now I know, like, I can't be living under a rock my whole goddamn life. I got to know that there's serial killers out there.
You will watch a show or something where something happens, and I'm not saying the show you get joy from seeing the serial killing, but when you watch a serial killer show and there's a unique taker's perspective or something you didn't know, you definitely get joy and fulfillment out of
fulfillment, not joy.
Learning. Well, no, if there's a joy, or you wouldn't come back to it. If you did not enjoy it, you would not keep watching it. Nobody, I mean, even scientists at some point decided they got joy out of...
I'm going to go see a scientist to psychologize my head.
Psychologize your... I got to tell you, I think you need a big one then. But, yeah, so anyway, I don't know how Disney or Apple TV is going to fit in all that because So
Might be too late to the parade.
Well,
everyone left,
and they're throwing a lot of big money at like Prince Harry and Oprah, and all these people are pledging to be on it. I mean, Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston.
What the fuck is Prince Harry going to do on it?
He's him and Oprah are doing that examining mental illness series on there.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean he's got his head in the right spot, and I think he's a good guy overall. But like Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston are bona fide stars, and they're doing this, so it's
they're making bank.
Oh God, Netflix we know throws dumb money. They're giving
that's
Eddie
why
Murphy
our prices for Netflix keep going up because they keep having to pay more and more money for all these big celebrities.
Yeah, they just gave $70 million to Eddie Murphy to do a stand-up special. So
$70 million. Well, that dude has like 6 kids with 5 people. It's something crazy.
And they all live at home. I heard it when he was on Comedian in the Cars. Which was a good episode. You've kind of watched that show here and there, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
That's actually a show that you don't have to look at the screen. I mean, sometimes you do because, like, when they're driving, if they're interactive with whatever. But for the most part, you can just listen in the background and find enjoyment from Jerry and his guest.
Yeah, and some of them are. I mean, when it's good, it's like really good. Like you feel like it's not fake, like they're real friends.
Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin I learned from Alec Baldwin, straight up cuckoo.
Yeah, very insane, but fun in a fun way. I mean,
it's almost scary though.
It is a little scary.
If you didn't know him and he just approached you, his character on Friends
on the one episode where he dated Phoebe.
Yeah, that's him. But not, I don't feel as, there's just a slight difference. I can't explain what the difference is, but he's very like, at least the way he came across in that episode was like kind of lighthearted and goofy. Yeah. But
I think the difference is one is aware that he's Alec Baldwin and the other was supposed to be oblivious that he was so nice.
Right. It was almost the same character.
But I can tell you this, of all the episodes of that show I've watched, and you've watched, a handful of them with me, probably the most annoying had to be, and I apologize for not knowing her name, but the girl from SNL that...
All she did was fucking laugh.
Yeah, at everything Jerry said. And
she was starstruck. She's like, I want his pee-pee.
But I can tell... Well, I don't know if she said that, but...
was she gay? I don't know.
No, I don't know, but... She looked it. Wow. But I think even Jerry was annoyed. Like, at some point.
He's like, fuck, why did I have her on? Why did you, Jerry?
We learned, quick side note, too, about Phoebe. Lisa Kudrow, by watching, because we've been said multiple times, we've been going back through Cheers on here. She tried to steal Woody from his eventual wife on the show early in their relationship.
And I believe she may be a natural brunette because her hair was dark as this character. And it was odd looking at her because what did you look it up? Was it the same year that no?
It was not the same year. It was a few years before.
Because was it Cheers ended the season before Friends started?
It was 1990, and that's the season where she's on.
Yeah, but I'm asking about when it ended.
I don't know, but 92 was Friends, right? So
4.
Oh, 94. So Cheers ended in 93. Yeah, there's 3 seasons left. So it was just odd to see her as a brunette, but she was almost the same kind of quirky-ish character. That's exactly what I was thinking. She was kind of bubbly, but
not as hippie as her Phoebe character,
and a little clueless.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she really leaned into that character, early, but it was just kind of cool. It made me want to pop up and see what other stuff she was in before she was Phoebe Buffay. Mm-hmm. I like there was one thing you brought up recently is out of nowhere Paul, who is known as the other guy in Cheers, the non-famous member of the bar, our bar patron.
Well, the 2 side characters that were there for
8 years.
I don't even know if they have names. They had one line, maybe a season each.
Yeah, and
then one guy disappeared.
But the other guy stays.
Yeah.
And you see Paul, they end up giving a bunch of... I almost want to be that other guy and go, man, I've been on this show for fucking 8 years, and this guy comes in and they're giving him like 3 lines an episode. What the shit?
Pays off to be fat and funny.
I kind of want to do a quiz with Tom and Bender, and even you if you want, and give the name of a side character and name the show they were on. That the most famous, unfamous members of shows.
Wow.
That would be a good one.
That's a good quiz, but that might be super hard.
I know.
Because if you would have just said Paul to me, I would have been like, because at first I was like, who the fuck is Paul? Are you talking about Paul, Jason's brother?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Paul Walker? Like, who the fuck is Paul?
But he's just the fat guy that wore suspenders and glasses and Cheers.
And I know his name was Paul. Even though we've been, as you guys have probably heard me say multiple times, we are rewatching Cheers, and we're on the second to last. Are we on season 9?
We're on season 8. Yeah, we just started season 9, and we have 2 more.
Yeah, it goes to 11.
Yeah. And that's a lot of TV.
And I told you last night I want to watch the last season.
Which means we're going to have to find another show to fall asleep to.
Which is fine, but here's what we do, people. We usually watch 1 full episode, maybe 2, depending on when we go upstairs. And then we always fall asleep to one. And Netflix will, after 2 episodes of nothing, no touches to the remote, it'll ask you if you want to keep watching. So there's potential that we miss 2 episodes every night. So
yeah, and we fall asleep, and yeah. So, but still, it's how we do it. I mean, Friends was our show for years, doing that too.
Yeah, we can't even watch that anymore.
I was thinking we switch it over to The Office or to Parks and Rec, something like that.
See, I want to watch I actually want to watch Parks and Rec because
there's so many famous people were on that.
No, I didn't watch hardly any of that series. I wouldn't mind watching The Office to go to sleep.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad.
See, for the longest time in my whole entire life, even up until just like when we stopped watching Friends, just recently, I either fell asleep to Fresh Prince or Friends. I've done that. And I would go back and forth
when
depending
we first
on
started
whatever
dating, it was Fresh Prince.
Yeah, depending on whatever was on. That when I went to bed, it was always Fresh Prince or Friends. So I'm a little.
Oh, there was a 2.5 Men run for us a little bit.
There was, and
when
then,
we were getting caught up on it.
I don't know. Ashton Kutcher ruined that show for me.
Well, yeah, but it was even pre-Ashton. But it was almost like we were catching up on it at the end of the,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, and the kid. What was the kid's name?
Jake.
Jake. The real life guy.
Yeah, he started rubbing you the wrong way.
Just him in general, and I'm like, you're getting paid millions of dollars to act. You don't even have to be that same person, and you want to dog the show.
Yeah, he kind of had a content innuendos in the show, but
he probably died and went to hell when he found out Charlie had HIV.
Yeah, well, that whole final season too. With after he left, remember how he was just showing up every once in a while in video chat and stuff? It was a little weird dude. Still getting paid though. Good negotiation tactics on his part. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to show up every 3rd episode, and you're still going to pay me $6 million a year.
Right.
That's a good gig if you can get it.
Now he's on the same page as Kirk Cameron, I think.
Is he doing those kinds of movies?
No, he's just that.
Oh, yeah, kook. Extreme. Let's call it extreme.
Religion.
Kirk Cameron. Huh. What a weird one. What a guy. I mean, I wonder how he felt when they replaced him with Nicolas Cage in the Left Behind movie. He made it. Well, I mean that's a kind of a weird thing to say too, because he made all those Left Behind
maybe
movies.
He did it because I thought he was the producer or wrote them or had something to do with it. Maybe he just said, "I'm out. I'm just going to sit back and direct or produce or whatever."
Who sits down though? If he's really did pull some strings, who sits down and goes, "You know what? You know who could play me in a big budget version of this? Nick Cage."
He's just as crazy as I am.
He's a different crazy, but he's crazy. I really feel like Nick Cage could best capture what I did for this role. That's insane. I remember
most of Hollywood is insane.
I worked at Walmart still, the great, retail giant that is Walmart. The weakening retail giant. I don't think they're as powerful as they used to be, but when those Left Behind books were big. And, man, we would get people coming in, when the new one would come out, because we'd have that display, and they'd be like, "Where do you have the new Left Behind book?" You have like this was pre-Harry Potter, but still same fanfare. I mean, and everybody, "Oh, you got to read them." I do not have to read them.
So I live with my grandma when those books started coming out. My grandma was an actual, legit Christian, very religious. She wasn't the Christian that goes to church but talks shit on everyone.
Not a judgmental person, just a good person.
She was a kind-hearted. She always said, "I'm going to take you to church and find you a good guy," which I was like, that's not the kind of guy I want. No thanks. but she wanted me to read the Left Behind series. So I attempted to read the first book, and I just couldn't get past.
And for those that don't know,
half the people just disappearing, and I'm like, what the? No, this doesn't make sense. No.
You read the first 50 Shades of Grey book too, so
horrible writing.
Yeah, and you got through that, and you still couldn't get through Left Behind.
I was done with the whole sex aspect about a third of the way through the second book, but then I was. But you got stuck. I was stuck on the actual storyline.
You got further in those than you did the Left Behind. So,
well,
what's that say about Left Behind? Sex is better than the biblical tones of it.
Right.
Well, I guess this is as good a time as any to throw it to Missy and see if you got anything else you want to touch on while we're here. Let's let the Jeopardy song play.
No, I don't.
You don't? This may shock some people. I don't know that I do either. I really wanted to talk about Fleabag and get your perspective on boys, because I feel like that, someone who doesn't like comic book stuff as a general rule enjoyed that show, so I wanted people to hear that. Yeah, hopefully we'll get more of a regular schedule. I'll release this tomorrow. It's Wednesday, the what? What's today?
I don't know. 21.
The 21st. So hopefully I release this Thursday, the 22nd. I do know that I'll reference it tomorrow. I'll probably wake up and record an intro and talk about Deb Stock, which a friend of the show.
You can only go if your name's Debbie.
Yeah, but so my throw it to Missy segment is Shane, friend of the show, Shane, Rock Paper Podcast, Shane, who shared his possible new intro to me today, last night, and I listened to it today. It's going to be cool. His mom, and this is something near and dear close to our hearts, is going through cancer, and she's had to go through deep chemotherapy. And they're kind of, all of his friends that he's supported over the years are kind of rallying around, and they're throwing, her name was Deborah, they're throwing the Deb stock at the old Rock House as a fundraiser for her. So to help with some of the medical bills and just the cost of living and stuff, which is a good thing. Like I said, I'll reference in the beginning so you get all the details there. But definitely, if you're in the St. Louis area and you're listening to this, go support. Not Shane. I mean, it is supporting Shane. Importantly, support the guy, the woman that gave us Shane. So go support Deb. So that'll be worth it. I think outside of that, I think I'm going to reach out to some guys that are some local comic creators here, because our favorite Irish friend, Ken Calcaterra, also our favorite guest to ever wear a fedora. I said Irish, I meant Italian. Italian.
He's going to be
he will be
so
mad.
furious
That's
at
like
you.
Fighting words right there. He's got some friends who I'm also friends with on Facebook that are their new independent comic is coming out soon. I think we're going to have them on the podcast. And then I constantly am talking to the guys from My Posse in Effect, but it's hard to nail down a time for them because they're doing a lot of stuff all the time and we're so busy. But we'll figure it all out. You'll start seeing stuff popping up as the winter starts happening and our schedule opens up, and we'll stop talking about how our schedule's is too full, and we'll just do episodes. So no Tom, no Bender. It's just Missy.
Just me.
Sane.
And you.
Sane.
Bye.
All right, we're going to play the music and we're done.
Let's go upstairs.